Let's go live now to Canberra. Retired Major General and former Senator Jim Molan joins us live. Mr Molan, thanks so much for your time. This story has got all of our attention this morning, an extra $3 billion for Special Forces. Now, Special Forces are the creme de la creme of our Defence Force, and does this suggest that they've been underfunded to now?
No, I don't think so, Laura. I think that warfare in itself is developing, and it's developing fast. And the strategic environment that Australia exists in, and that these special forces, along with the rest of the Australian Defence Force, must operate in, is changing even faster. So I think that this is a great plan for from what I can see from the newspaper reports, that over 20 years, $3 billion, which compared to the defence vote is not a monumental amount of money over 20 years, even if we stay at the same rate, that they're reacting to the changes in the nature of warfare, the changes to the challenges that we face, and I think it's a great thing to be doing.
Do our SAS troops work closely? Of course, they work closely with our coalition partners and our allies at the moment. Does this funding boost, do you think, does it make our SAS troops perhaps more independent?
No, I don't think it. I wouldn't put it in those terms. What it does is that there's a kind of a world standard of special forces, and the American, what they call their Tier 1 forces, which are SEALs and Delta Force, Navy SEALs and Delta Force. We've all seen movies about them, and there's an unbelievably large number of movies about them, some better than others. Pound for pound, man for man, our special forces are as good as the American special forces, and I've worked very closely with the American special forces in Iraq, and they are superb. Where we have missed out over the years because we haven't needed it is the long-range deployment, independent intelligence ability, and a range of things like that that allow us to operate independently, but it doesn't stop us from operating as a very, very good ally. And the point that I make quite often is that the better we are at operating independently across the entire Defence Force, the better we are as an ally.
Nothing like you, but I too have seen our SAS forces in action in Afghanistan, and that is the feedback you always get, that Australia punches above its weight, and our SAS troops are world-renowned for the work that they do. This funding boost at the moment, what kind of operations will it enable? Are they ones that we can't foresee at the moment, or are they ones that we might currently be involved in?
Well, the Special Forces, the Commandos and the Special Air Service are amongst the highest readiness forces that we have in this country. They are specifically ready to conduct counter-terrorist operations, to assist Australian citizens overseas, to conduct some covert activities as well as overt activities. So all of these kind of activities that they are ready to do will be enhanced by the fact that they will get a new range of helicopters that can be easily deployed, that can assist them to work, and plus the new day-to-day stuff that they've got. Now, that really doesn't define them in doing any different kind of operations, but it certainly does allow them to do those operations faster, further away, to come back quickly to a base and then do them again. And that was the real advantage that I saw of the US Special Forces in Iraq, in that they had the capability to do many operations over a single night. Now, that's not just the fact that they're bigger than our Special Forces, it is the fact that they have more flexible resources to do that. They've got helicopters that can be refuelled, and they've got enough soldiers and they've got enough intelligence to do those kind of operations.
Now, Andrew Hastie's comments last week certainly has got us all talking about how we deal with the rise of China. And I think there's a view here that perhaps the public would like a broader conversation about it. I think everyone understands the economic ramifications and how reliant we are on China. But what did you make of his comments, and where should the government be going?
Well, I think the government's got it hacked. I think they're well and truly organised to manage this. I spent 5 years as a diplomat in our embassy in Jakarta in 2 separate postings, and Jakarta then was our most difficult relationship throughout the world. You don't have to come out and say that such and such a country will be a threat in order to prepare for an uncertain future. I believe that what Andrew Hastie said was factually correct. Some of the things, the references he made to Stalin and Hitler, I would have avoided, but I do believe that we are in a 1938 situation because of the changing power relativities in the world. But we need to be very careful what we do say, but we do need to have a conversation about China. And the government that I was a member of and that I certainly hope to go to back to in the future, that government has been fabulous in relation to foreign influence and protecting our intellectual property and other things like that that show me that we understand that we are a sovereign nation, that understands that we are more than just a balance sheet, a trading sheet, and that we're a liberal democracy and we must stand up for that.
So, Mr Molan, are you saying the government is doing everything it can do quietly when it comes to China, but China don't want to be embarrassed? No. I guess in some ways I'm saying that, but what I am saying is that you don't have to call out a threat specifically if that will be a self-fulfilling prophecy in order to prepare for that threat. And there are other ways to get around it. My view of China is that we must welcome China and the rise of China. What China has done for its own people, as we all know, is just unbelievable. We must welcome China, but we must welcome China from a position of strength, not just military strength, financial, economic, and every other aspect of what this magnificent country is. That's the strength that we must welcome the rise of China from. Well, Mr Molan, we appreciate your time. I can see this morning that you haven't lost the diplomatic effect as well, so appreciate your time.
Thanks, Laura. Thank you.
See you soon.